Go Centaur.
Pressurization.
Go Atlas. Go Centaur.
Plus autopilot.
Go.
Centaur autopilot.
Go.
Launch director.
Go.
Memorial Day, May 30, 1966, Cape Kennedy, Florida.
All recorders fast.
Minus 12 seconds.
Engine start.
Minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I've released it.
The Convair-built Atlas 290D and Centaur 10 successfully boost the spacecraft Surveyor 1 into a lunar intercept trajectory. Surveyor 1 soft lands on the moon. Its television cameras photograph and transmit to Earth the first pictures from the surface of the moon. They prove that man and his equipment can be safely landed there to begin the new era of exploration into the outer reaches of space. Another era began 44 years ago when Major Reuben Hollis Fleet leased the facilities of the Gallaudet Aircraft Corporation in East Greenwich, Rhode Island, to build airplanes. Interviewed in 1953 on the occasion of Convair's 30th anniversary, Major Fleet gave this account of Convair's beginning.
I had just resigned the Army Air Forces and had taken a contract as a manager of Gallaudet Company. To my surprise, I found that it had nothing worthy of continuity or perpetuity and that it owed $3 million. So I decided to get a new start. I founded Consolidated Aircraft Corporation with $25,000, which my sister and I put up. I bought the designs from the Dayton Wright Company to the TW3, which is a side-by-side trainer. I got a contract for 20 of them from the Army, amounting to $180,000. I finished the 20 and meantime concluded that the airplane was not a success. But at the end of the contract, we had $201.98 profit.
$201.98. Not even enough to fuel one of today's jet aircraft to fly from San Diego to San Francisco. From this beginning grew one of the world's largest corporations. Typical of what we term American determination and drive, Major Fleet and his fledgling Consolidated Aircraft Corporation was to forge ahead and within a few short years outproduce the world in airframes of all types. Successful demonstration of the prototype of an improved trainer designated PT-1 resulted in a large order from the Army. Needing better facilities, Consolidated moved to Buffalo, New York in 1924, where production of the PT-1 and the Navy version NY-1 continued as their fame spread to 22 foreign nations. Safety and rugged dependability were synonymous with Consolidated aircraft. A variety of land and water-based aircraft were to follow these early planes. The company's first flying boat, the PY-1 Admiral, from which later evolved the 32-passenger water-based Commodore. Later came the P-2Y series of flying boats. And the world-renowned PBY Catalina patrol bombers. Prompted by an ever-increasing need for year-round testing and flying seaplanes, Consolidated moved to San Diego, California in the fall of 1935. In San Diego, Consolidated prospered and was soon employing thousands of people. As war clouds loomed over Europe in 1939, the Air Force ordered a 4-engine heavy bomber. Designed and test-flown less than 9 months from the mock-up completion, the B-24 Liberator bomber was in its day considered to be one of the greatest pieces of machinery ever to be mass-produced. The earliest Liberators went into combat with the Royal Air Force of Great Britain. The LB-30s, as they were designated, were ferried to England by American pilots. During World War II, Liberators were the most numerous heavy bombers on all the battlefronts of the world. Over 18,000 were built. Of these, Convair built over 11,000. Cargo transport versions were the C-87 Liberator Express for the U.S. Army and the PB-4Y privateer version for the Navy. As the demands of war dictated, numerous other aircraft designed for a variety of uses rolled off the Convair assembly lines. P-66 Pursuit, Valiant BT-13, PB-2Y Coronado, B-32 Dominator, Vengeance A-35, AT-19 Reliant. The 1943 merger of Consolidated and Vultee aircraft corporations brought together resources and facilities, enabling the new Consolidated Vultee Aircraft Corporation to maintain a leading position in the industry. Emphasis on production of the B-24 and B-32 bombers temporarily delayed start of production of the world's largest bomber, the B-36, until late 1945. The giant B-36 planes were to evolve through various updating refinements as the big stick of the Strategic Air Command in maintaining the hard-won peace. It has been said that the B-36 was perhaps the greatest single deterrent to a World War III. Post-war requirements for military craft dwindled, but did not cease entirely. Convair developed a folding-wing single-engine liaison plane, the L-13. It was designed to get into and out of small areas for observation, communication, courier service, and many other uses not possible by larger, faster planes. The experimental XB-46 4-engine jet bomber and the world's largest cargo plane, XC-99, were introduced in 1947. This double-decked craft set cargo carrying records during the Korean conflict. Commercial airlines were to log billions of passenger miles on all 6 of the world's continents with the Convair liner 240. These twin-engine, 40-passenger pressurized transports were built for use by more than a dozen airlines for medium and short-range traffic. Military versions went into service with the United States Air Force. The T-29 Navigator bombardier trainers were dubbed flying classrooms. Practical training while airborne, using the same type of equipment installed on combat planes, was to aid the Air Force in more rapidly molding flight crews to combat readiness. Convair's long list of reliable products are important to aviation's progress. Of equal importance are the innovations and firsts it has contributed to the industry. Ideas projected toward the distant future provide added new dimensions to aeronautical technology. Convair was first in the air with a delta-wing aircraft, the XF-92A, a delta-wing single-engine jet fighter. Successful results of this research program in 1948 were to become the F-102 series of all-weather, round-the-clock interceptors for the United States Air Force. Follow-on advancements produced the F-106 series. Experience in the use of turboprop engines dates back to 1943, and the XP-81, the first American plane ever flown with a turboprop engine. A series of pioneering firsts succeeded this accomplishment. A 4-engine turboprop patrol seaplane, the XP-5Y. The Convair 240 Allison turboliner. The turboprop seaplane transport R3Y Tradewind. A twin-engine military transport, the Air Force YC-131C. The delta-wing turboprop vertical takeoff fighter XFY-1, nicknamed Pogo. The YB-60, a swept-wing 8-turbojet engine super bomber for the Air Force. Hydrodynamic research by Convair produced the world's first jet-powered delta-wing seaplane for the Navy, the XF-2Y-1 Sea Dart. In 1954, Consolidated Vultee Aircraft Corporation passed into history. A merger with General Dynamics Corporation resulted in the name Convair, becoming the official title for the new division of General Dynamics. The V-2 rockets used by Germany during the closing days of World War II made evident the fact that rockets were no longer the novel playthings of small groups of experimenters. In 1945, under an Air Force contract known as Project MX-774, Convair began a study of ballistic missiles. Defense cutbacks in 1947 literally shelved the project, except for limited research conducted by Convair. In 1951, the Korean War resulted in increased defense appropriations. Convair was awarded a contract under Project MX-1593 to study the merits of ballistic and glide rockets. The ballistic approach was selected as the one with the most potential. Experience gained on MX-774 was put to the test, and the Atlas program was underway. In 1955, the new Atlas program, designated WS-107A1, was given the highest national defense priority. By 1957, astronautics had been formed as a division of Convair to produce the Atlas. New facilities were constructed in San Diego. Less than 5 years were required for the largest, most complex production, testing, and flight program ever undertaken for the Atlas to become America's first operational intercontinental ballistic missile. Even while the giant missile was in production as a weapon of defense, astronautics was already engaged in seeking to advance man's knowledge of space. The reliable, flight-proven Atlas has a long and enviable history of successful achievements for both the Air Force and the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Atlas played a significant role in Project Mercury, boosting our first astronauts into Earth orbits. One after another, Atlas missions have launched Ranger, Mariner, the Orbiting Astronomical Observatory, the Orbiting Geophysical Observatory, Project Fire, Agena targets for Project Gemini, Centaur Surveyor. The list continues to grow, and no immediate end is in sight for the reliable space booster Atlas. Convair in 1951 activated its Pomona division to produce new types of aerial weapons for the United States Navy Bureau of Ordnance. Pilot models of Convair's Terrier were produced in San Diego. By late 1953, these surface-to-air guided missiles were in production at the new Pomona facility. Another supersonic surface-to-air guided missile produced at Pomona is Tartar. A new standard missile for shipboard use is under development. Red Eye, a shoulder-fired surface-to-air missile, provides combat troops in the field with an effective weapon against low-flying, strafing, or bombing aircraft. Development of the Centaur was prompted by the nation's need for a high-energy second-stage space vehicle. Design concepts proven by the Atlas were employed in the production of Centaur. The program started contractually in late 1958. One of the major problems in its early development stage was that of taming and handling the liquid hydrogen used as fuel for the vehicle. By 1965, with the final research and development flight of a single burn Centaur, AC-6, the vehicle was considered operational. The flight of Atlas Centaur 10 Surveyor 1 fully justified NASA's and Convair's faith in the vehicle. Beyond Centaur Surveyor lunar flights, other missions are in the planning stage for Centaur. While its space-age projects were developing at a rapid pace, Convair was still moving forward with some of its original programs and beginning new ones. With air travel increasing, the demand for transport planes was greater than ever. Based on the design of the service-proven Convair 240, a larger version came off the assembly lines. The 340 Convair liner. The Military Air Transport Service utilized a version called the C-131A Samaritans as air evacuation hospital transports. A modified version of the 340 liner, designated R4Y1, was in service with the U.S. Navy as personnel transports. Followed by still another model, the 440. By now, nearly 30 airlines around the world were using the family of Convair liners. Convair Fort Worth Division produced the B-58 Hustler, the world's first supersonic bombers. These are in service with the Strategic Air Command. Air Force crews have set 19 world flying records with the B-58. Keeping pace with the expanding jet age, Convair produced the 880 transport. This craft can accommodate between 88 and 110 passengers, depending upon the seating arrangements. Convair's 990 jet airliner was designed for operation at near sonic speeds. The 880 and 990 were called pilots' airplanes. Both are serving domestic and international airlines. 2 years of development and testing were conducted on a prototype counterinsurgency aircraft called Charger. Its capability for short takeoff and landing and its ability to operate as a close-in support plane in difficult terrain was clearly demonstrated. An unfortunate crash destroyed the plane. However, data obtained during the flight tests clearly indicated a useful potential for such an aircraft. Of nearly 1,100 Convair liners produced since 1946 for both commercial and military transport use, over 1,000 are still in service around the world. Over 20 years of unquestioned proof attesting to the rugged dependability of aviation's most reliable airframe. In support of these aircraft, Convair initiated a modification program for the 240, 340, and 440 liners. Replacing the reciprocating power plants with Rolls-Royce Dart turboprop engines and refurbishing the planes throughout will keep the new Convair 600 series the leader in the field of short and medium-range transports. With its long history of proven high standards and quality workmanship, Convair is engaged in numerous large subcontracts. From Lockheed, Georgia, the 63-foot-high complete tail assembly for the Air Force C-5A, the world's largest jet transport, and the complete empennage section for the C-141, heavy logistics transport. For the Air Force, updating modifications to the F-106 and F-102 interceptors. For the F-111 Air Force and Navy variable wing fighter aircraft, Convair is fabricating the stabilizer boom structures and the redesigned fuel tanks and pylons. A Douglas aircraft contract provides for Convair to fabricate door and jam sections for the DC-9 transports. Mark 56 non-magnetic mine cases for the Navy. Under contract to Kaiser Aluminum for the United States Army Corps of Engineers, lightweight transportable landing mats are in production. These mats make it possible to rapidly lay landing strips in areas where conventional airfields would be difficult, if not impossible, to construct. A variety of other contracts and engineering studies are also underway. Inherent with America's space effort man's safety in flight is a prime requisite. For Project Mercury, Convair developed its own abort sensing instrumentation system called As Is. For Apollo, Convair produced Little Joe 2, a simple, reliable, solid-propelled launch vehicle. Capable of thrusts ranging from 300,000 to 720,000 pounds for short periods of time, Little Joe 2 launched low-level ballistic test flights of the Apollo moonship abort system. Not all of Convair's efforts are in the fields of aviation and space technology. The science of oceanography offered new challenges. An unmanned ocean